Hello, students. I hope you all are fit and fine and studying well at your homes. In the previous video, we tried to find the answer of the question how is a major policy decision taken and how does the system of decision making work. In the today's video, we will try to find out the answer of this question why is there a need for political institutions? So, let's begin with the topic need for political institutions. Governing a country involves various activities. For example, the government is responsible for healthcare, education, and security of the citizens. It collects taxes and spends the money thus raised on administration, defense, and development programs. Some persons have to take decisions about these activities and others have to implement these decisions. If dispute arise on these decisions or in their implementation, there should be someone to determine what is right and what is wrong. It is important that these activities keep taking place even if the persons in key position change. So, to attend to all these tasks, several arrangements are made in all modern democracies. Such arrangements are called institutions. A democracy works well when these institutions perform functions assigned to them. The constitution of any country lays down basic rules on the power and functions of each institution. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet take all important policy decisions. The civil servants working together are responsible for taking steps to implement the minister's decisions. Supreme Court is an institution where disputes between citizens and the government are finally settled. Students, working with institution is not easy. Institutions involve rules and regulations. Institutions involve meetings, committees, and routines. This often leads to delays and complications. But some of the delays and complications introduced by institutions are very useful. They provide an opportunity for a wider set of people to be consulted in any decision. Institutions make it difficult to have a good decision taken very quickly, but they also make it equally difficult to rush through a bad decision. That is why democratic government insists on institutions. Parliament. First we will see why do we need a parliament. Students, in all democracies, an assembly of elected representatives exercises supreme political authority on behalf of the people. In India, such a national assembly of elected representatives is called parliament. At the state level, this is called legislature or legislative assembly. Now we will discuss role of parliament. Number 1. Parliament is the final authority for making laws in any country. This task of lawmaking or legislation is so crucial that these assemblies are called legislatures. Parliaments all over the world can make new laws, change existing laws, or abolish existing laws and make new ones in their place. Next, parliaments all over the world exercise some control over those who run the government. In some countries like India, this control is direct and full. Those who run the government can take decisions only so long as they enjoy support of the parliament. Parliaments control all the money that government have. In most countries, the public money can be spent only when the parliament sanctions it. Parliament is the highest forum of discussion and debate on public issues and national policy in any country. Parliament can seek information about any matter. Now let's begin to discussing about the two houses of parliament. The role and powers of the parliament can divide in two parts. They are called chambers or houses. One house is usually directly elected by the people and exercises the real power on behalf of the people. The second house is usually elected indirectly and performs some special functions. The most common work for the second house is to look after the interest of various states, regions, or federal units. In our country, the parliament consists of two houses. The two houses are known as the Council of States, Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People, Lok Sabha. The President of India is a part of the parliament, although she is not a member of either house. That is why all laws made in the houses come into force only after they receive the assent of the President. Rajya Sabha is called the upper chamber and Lok Sabha is called the lower chamber. But which of the two houses is more powerful? Students, our constitution does give the Rajya Sabha some special powers over the states. But on most matters, the Lok Sabha exercises supreme power. Let us see how. Any ordinary law needs to be passed by both the houses. But if there is a difference between the two houses, the final decision is taken in a joint session in which members of both the houses sit together. Because of the larger number of members, the view of the Lok Sabha is likely to prevail in such a meeting. Next, Lok Sabha exercises more powers in money matters. Once the Lok Sabha passes the budget of the government or any other money related law, the Rajya Sabha cannot reject it. The Rajya Sabha can only delay it by 14 days or suggest changes in it. The Lok Sabha may or may not accept these changes. Next, most importantly, the Lok Sabha controls the Council of Ministers. Only a person who enjoys the support of the majority of the members in the Lok Sabha is appointed the Prime Minister. If the majority of the Lok Sabha members say they have no confidence in the Council of Ministers, all ministers, including the Prime Minister, have to quit. The Rajya Sabha does not have this power.